The Born to Win podcast highlights individuals excelling at high levels in their purpose and calling. This podcast is for anyone looking to get ahead in life and willing to take action and reach their full potential. Using C.H.A.M.P.S male mentoring model of the 3 E's, education, empowerment, and exposure, it means you too are born to win.
I'm born to win. Live. The Jets from Chicago.
Welcome to another Born to Win podcast. I'm super excited once again to be hosting this wonderful podcast. But more importantly, I'm super excited to be welcoming our special guest. That's right. We got another special guest, and this is a heavy hitter, y'all. Y'all listening to me? Tune in right now, because this brother right here, he's a leader in the community. He's a Chicagoan. He's a man of God. He's a character leader. And more importantly, he's a visionary. And he has a huge vision for the city of Chicago, specializing in social emotional learning. You heard me. I said social emotional learning. He's the guru. And we got him here on the Born to Win podcast. Clever Characters. That's right. He started this movement, and it is sweeping the landscape. And listen, adults, parents, if you're not connected to the Champions group, you need to be. What are you waiting on? So I want to introduce my South Side, West Side, Chicago brother Damien Howard. What's good?
Man, it's all good. You know how we do this thing, Vondale. You and I, either you joining my podcast or my webinars, or you joining yours, bro. We've been doing this for a minute, so I'm super excited. The energy is all the way on 10 right now, ready to get into this thing, man. And by the way, I like that South Side, West Side, Chicagoland, because, you know, the work is across the whole city, and now we're expanding beyond the city with the vision. Man, come on, let's get into it, bro.
Come on, man. Let's go. That's right. We taking the city by storm. So either you with us or you against us. So I'm telling you to tune in with us right now. So, man, my brother, look, it's a lot to talk about. But for those of us who are tuning in, whether you're streaming audio or watching this on playback video, I want them to be able to, man, to get to know you a little bit better. Can you just share your story, man, with us?
Yeah, man, so much to the narrative, as is the case for any of us who live for any period of time. You feel me? So what I like to do, since I'm given this opportunity and platform so graciously by my brother Vondale to share my story, it started off on 79th Street. Don't play with your homie. Right there, 79th near Ashland and Western. When I had to walk through the alley to go to Scott Joplin Elementary School because, you know, with some risky business going on the street. And my mom was just like, yo, I want y'all to stay safe. Well, we had to boil water, you hear me, on the stove top, open up the stove so that during Chicago blistering winters, you feel me, we can stay warm. I mean, those were the dynamics that I was reared in. But you couldn't tell me nothing because I still had the Jays. I still had the Patrick Ewins, you know what I'm saying, blow them up. Still had the Jason Kids and the Grant Hills. You understand? And when I got a little older, the Fat Farms and the Rockaway, I'm not playing with nobody. But in a real way, you know, Dad wasn't around. Poverty stricken, even though we didn't know that at the time, because like I said, we was lost externally. But those were those dynamics I was reared in. And if I could just go a little further in the story, am I
man, of course. This is your platform,
yes.
Bro. Yep.
Yeah. So an interesting dynamic as I started to get a little older, the only thing I was sure of was the fact that I wasn't going to college. I was like, man, yo, that whole education system whitewash, it's not for me. I'm not feeling it, right? But I had this interesting dynamic towards the end of my junior year in high school. And by this time, Mom moved me out of the city. I didn't make it into Whitney Lane taking in selective enrollment options. So she was like, come on, man, we're going to the suburbs to just kind of give you some more educational and life opportunity. So anyway, long and short, our star running back for our football team, he was a very charismatic guy. He got all of the girls, and my little chunky self was like, man, I'm kind of jealous of dude because he get all the girls. Do you hear me?
Right.
And I got one of the girls, but he got all. You feel me? So, but I defined him based on all of his winning characteristics, but the school system defined him based on his disabilities and what they deemed as deficits. And this brother, though he, again, a star running back, super charismatic, I didn't eat lunch with him. We didn't have PE with him. He was segmented to a different part of the school in the special education sector. And something inside of me said, that ain't right, right? So it was Dante, his narrative and his story that led me into the field of education. Like I said, I was done. I'm like, I ain't going to school. I don't know what I'm going to do. But the only thing I do know is that no more school for me. But when I experienced his reality, I started to learn that that actually is the plight of, it says, an overrepresentation of Black boys, right? Get labels at the time of emotional disturbance and behavior disorder.
Right.
I just started to get more and more impassioned that, man, I have something to say. I can be a factor and a figure of change as it pertains to our boys getting these labels subjectively and not objectively based on, you know, anything else other than the fact that they're different or somebody deemed them as not fit. So yeah, that's a little bit of the narrative, man. And I can go on and on, but I want to pause there to just see if there's anything you want to pull out of that piece.
No, man, I think it's powerful. And I think it's kind of like going to lead us on throughout this organic conversation. But in terms of your journey, so that was a thing that kind of like got you preemptively thinking, what can you do to impact that area? What can you do to make change? And I think oftentimes these are the series of our lives where, you know, things happen or we aggressively are entrusted with an opportunity to be on the other side, right? So it may be people laughing at that, right? But then you're just like, man, something not right with this, and let me do something about it. So if you can just speak to, like, how did you end up like where you are right now in terms of everything that you're doing? And it's very powerful because you got your hands in a lot of buckets. My brother's also on the My Brother's Keeper Alliance with me, and powerful organizations across the city that's really focused on, you know, changing and creating pipelines. So if you can just talk to us about the journey in terms of your professional career, how did you really jump into it fully?
You know this better than many people in the city, that I embody a unique blend of being an educator and a minister. I have 15 years of experience in both of those sectors, if you will. And the 2017-2018 school year, I'd never forget it. I started to really feel overwhelmed by a sense of more. Let me say that again. I was overwhelmed by a sense of more, which led me to a place of starting to believe and feel that, Damien, the life that you're living and leading right now is very limited. You better believe I was rocking it out in a major way at Crane High School. Listen, as a special education teacher, Black male, man, my inbox always like, man, come teach this school, come teach this school.
Right.
But it just got to a particular point in time, Vondale, that it was just like, yo, you can make impact for the sake of one school building. But, and I'm going to say it this way, I felt the sense that God was calling me towards greater, which meant that, Damien, I want to give you a platform, brother, whereby you have your thumbprint on a movement that is blessing and impacting positive change across the whole city and beyond. So at that point, it was just like, yo, oh, and by the way that God set it up, and I even sensed and felt this 2017, 2018, when it wasn't real clear what the direction was going to be, but I felt that it did, this whole blend upon him as a minister and as an educator is going to be on full display for whatever that next step of my journey was going to be. And the way that he set that thing up is that I don't have to limit, I don't have to shortchange, I don't have to sabotage any sector or any part of who Damien Howard is. I am able 100% to live into the fullness of myself to do this work. Yeah, so you already said it earlier. When I hit that wall, it was like, okay, what is the field of study, or what is the type of work that gives my life passion? And I believe that's interwoven with my purpose. And it was this field of social and emotional learning, helping people to build their character, making sure that I'm working on developing my character with a growth-oriented mindset and not a fixed mindset. And yo, just saying, if we do this work in a networking type of way, that we get leaders that we're training to work with other parents and other leaders and other teachers and other educators in their space, guess what? That's the type of stuff that's about to change the culture of schools. That's the type of stuff that can start to change the fabric of communities, bro. So when God started to plant that thing on me, that thing got so just, it started bubbling inside of me. I'm like, yo,
Yes,
I
sir.
started to obsess about that thing, man. So that's where I am right now. There were intentional, providential steps that God ordained in my life to get me to where I am. I said I wasn't going to do no school. He said, yeah, I'm going to show you, Dante, you going to school. You're going to become an educator. Then after that, I wasn't trying to be a minister or anything. I'm just like, I just want to know how to apply the word of God better to my life. He was like, yes, you are going to seminary. And there have been very intentional steps to get me to where I am right now.
Man, that's so powerful. And so let's talk, because I know it's somebody watching or listening. It's like, man, this brother got it all together. Man, he's lived the perfect life. And that's not the case. You know, just because we're called to the ministry and we're called to do great things don't mean that we're exempt from obstacles and challenges. So if you can talk about what were some of the obstacles that kind of help inform and shape what you do today, that kind of popped up throughout your life.
Man, bro, Aaliyah say if at first you don't succeed, you better dust yourself off and try again.
Come on now.
I ain't gonna play. I ain't gonna play with the people in my response to this question, man. So I just wanna like really get laser focused on one failure in my lived experience that was a straight up setup for what I'm living right now. Yeah, I tell y'all that ministry is a true part and a real part of who I am. So after I graduated seminary in 2010, the only thing I knew to do was go and, you know, try to plant a church to impact change in community. So at that point, while I was working at Crane High School, I also launched a church over by the United Center here in the city of Chicago. And guess what? Within 3 years, that church plant had dissolved. And there are a myriad of different reasons why that church plant didn't succeed or why it was a failure. But part of it is this, Vondale. Your boy was out there trying to do violence reduction work. I was trying to do entrepreneurship training. I was doing mentoring. Y'all know I was doing some tutoring in the mentoring piece because that's who I am as an educator. I was still teaching at the school. I'm trying to be a father and a husband. You understand? Like, it was just so much I was simultaneously trying to lift, and it got to a point that burden began to overwhelm me. And not only me, that thing started touching my family. I remember in that season, my wife had a miscarriage. You understand? And just other just kind of emotional stuff that we went through because I was just putting too much on our collective plate. So that is really, if I think of a failure, and something that I just put so much of my life energy into, you talking about all in, Vondale? Listen, every time I come with you and the boys, I'm all in on that C.H.A.M.P.S piece. You feel me? With that Thrive Covenant Church plant, your boy was even more all in, if you will. But it didn't last. It didn't succeed. So I had an option at that point. Either I could go duck my head, you understand, go find myself in somebody's corner, stick my little thumb in my mouth, get in the fetal position, you understand, and just let life and time waste away. Or I can say, you know what? Is that a loss, bro? Or was that a lesson? You understand? Was that failure meant to break you, or was that failure meant to build you? And I'm just the type that I told somebody this the other day. I was like, man, when I die, I ain't gonna have no regrets. And the reason I'm not gonna have no regrets is because when something hits my mind or hits my heart, I try it. I experiment, bro. You understand? I say, okay, what is the first step for us to see if this is something that God has for me, right? And or is this an idea, this, as Mr. Wonderful would say, after a year, 2 or 3, based on, you know, how this thing is growing or not growing, you might have to take that behind the barn and shoot it. And I'm okay with that. And I've learned even now to fail fast. You understand?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
It's just like I can already see if this thing isn't trending in the direction that it needs to go. So let's stop doing that and focus our attention and our energy on something else. All of that energy and that effort that I put into that church plant, the relationships that I built, is a pivotal component of the work that I do now. Right now, I'm still in that area doing the same stuff that I aspired to do back then, but now I have a team. I've connected to this organization, Together Chicago. Y'all
Yeah.
look them up, togetherchicago.com. And I'm just like, these are brilliant, amazingly high capacity individuals. And we come into that joint, locking arms, bro, working with the community, and we're seeing major impact and major change with all of these focus areas focused on one community. I love it, bro.
And here's the powerful thing. Brother Damien, he not only talks about hope, but he epitomizes hope. And I just want to hear from you in terms of hope. How do you define hope? Because there are a lot of people, right, that have thrown in the towel, that after what you said would have stopped, would have completely threw it away, threw their marriage away, you know, threw their ministry away, threw their purpose away because of these obstacles. And instead of allowing those obstacles to break you, it actually challenged you to become better. And you just said it. Like, I'm doing the same thing. I got a team and I'm making the same or greater impact. That's what we're talking about here. So if you can just talk to us and really begin to minister to those who feel hopeless right now.
Yeah, I call myself an eternal optimist. Let me say it again, an eternal optimist. Yo, you live long enough, life gonna smack you upside the face. It's gonna knock you upside the head one or more times. It slapped me across the face a whole bunch of times. Matter of fact, if I could just have a transparent moment, we were supposed to film this a night before it's being filmed, but I couldn't get on here in a stable way with my video right, with my audio right, because unexpectedly, I'm on the road with my wife for us to go down to Champaign, Illinois to care for her mom. We didn't anticipate doing that, but it's just what life gave us. I think first and foremost, Vondale, we got to get to the point whereby we understand we are humans living a human experience. And part of that means that this thing ain't always going to be gravy. This thing ain't always going to be easy. And the beautiful thing about, again, the maturation, and it don't mean that you got to wait till you my age to mature. Man, I know some shorties who are a part of the C.H.A.M.P.S movement right now, who have strong, mature minds, that they understand that the vicissitudes of life are going to show up, but I cannot allow those things to derail me. And if they don't derail me, I said it already, but let me say it again, versus breaking me, these are the very experiences that God is allowing to build me, because scripture told me, and it told Vondale, and it told the rest of y'all, that he's never going to give us more than we can bear. His intent in allowing us to go through certain things isn't to break us. It's like, no, I'm building your character. I'm building your grit. I'm building your stamina. Me coming from 79th and Hermitage, y'all, that's a real piece and a real component of who I am right now. Because any of y'all can look at this visual and you can say, dang, you dusty. Dang, look at your crust around you. You can say all of that stuff. Guess what? And I'm going to laugh at you. You understand? That stuff ain't going to keep me off of my purpose. It's not going to take me away from my why, because I came from 79th Street. Y'all heard my story. You understand? I had that thing rough. So I'm already, since I have that mindset that's growth oriented, I'm that eternal optimist. I know how to use my lived experiences as fuel to motivate my future, right? So my whole thing is like, y'all, I came from the bottom. Do you hear me? And now I'm here. Do you hear me? So it's only so much that you can tell me to get me off of what God has me on. He's already shown himself time and time again, countless instances where he's shown himself to be true. So my whole thing is, guess what? I'm going to believe him, and I'm going to believe his word, and I'm going to try to bring you with me on this process. You hear me? But if you want to do that ugly, broke, busted, disgusted type of stuff that's going to keep you limited, I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to try to rock with you, but I'm so discerning at this juncture in my life that I want to have those people in my circle who are trying to go where I'm trying to go. And I don't necessarily mean that you got to be made up like Damien is made up. You definitely don't have to have the plaques on your wall of the educational experience. None of that matters. But do you have that eternally optimistic mindset, that hope that says it's going to get better? I just have to make it beyond this step. I have to make it beyond this tragedy. This didn't come to break me. This came to build me, man. So you gave me that opportunity to talk to the people about it.
Yes.
So I just had to go there, bro, for a quick little second.
Optimistic. Eternally optimistic. I love that.
Yes, sir.
I love it. So again, guys, we're in the thrive right now. And it's not no more we strive, and we in the thrive right now. And I want to speak this to somebody who still may be questioning, like, yeah, you guys got it together now. You had a lot of help. But man, can you just speak to everybody about maybe some obstacles that you had to face growing up that kind of helped shape who you are today? So people don't understand that you from 79, you from the 9. Obviously, you had to endure that. But I think sometimes people will see you now. You know what I mean? Because you don't look like what you've been through. You know what I mean? And they will judge that and say, nah, it's hard for me to believe that this brother really did. So, man, can you just specifically talk about any instances that you don't mind sharing about your childhood and what made you strong today?
Let's talk about the fact that I still have to deal with making sure that insecurity doesn't cause the type of stinking thinking that makes me pause and that makes me get stuck in my tracks and not, again, aggressively continue to go after what it is that God has predestined and ordained for Damien's life. Where do some of those insecurities come from? You know, I'm looking at my mom's grind. I'm looking at the fact she had to work the second and the third shift. I'm looking at the fact that this is a woman trying to raise a young man. I'm thinking of the fact that even all the way up to the age of until I went to college, I didn't even have my own bedroom, right? Because she just trying to make ends meet. So when all of that, I'm like, Dad, why, what was it about me or what was it about moms that Dad abandoned us? You feel me? Was it because I was born, that he felt like it was too much pressure and he had to leave? You understand? Or was it something with his character that was just kind of already there and it was part of, again, the reason why he didn't sustain? And if that's the case, dang, moms, what's up? Why is this the dude? I'm grateful for him because I wouldn't be here. But it's those type of things that people don't oftentimes pause long enough to reflect upon, to understand that fatherlessness or whatever your case may be, a childhood that had elements of addiction in it, neglect in it, those things impact us as adults, Vondale. Those are things where I could just be chilling on my sofa. Do you hear me? I can be sitting right here in my office and I could just get a little flashback. Or I could just get a little thought. And if you don't know how to manage those flashbacks, and if you don't know how to manage those thoughts, those are the very things that the devil, I'll say it that way. Hopefully I'm allowed to, to talk that way on the
talk plain, brother. Way. Yes, sir.
He will use that, Vondale. He will use it. He will use it to his benefit to say that, that visual that you just got of that abandoned boy, of that neglected child. Guess what? 37-year-old man, that's still you. You still are limited. You still ain't going nowhere. You still ain't got nothing. Man, bro, you gotta learn how to conquer the battlefield of your mind. That's what Joyce Myers was saying. That's what she would call it. And this, let me just free somebody right now, is a lifelong work. You don't ask for certain visuals to come to your mind. You don't ask for certain thoughts to reimagine themselves or repurpose or resurface. And you don't ask for that stuff. But humans living a human experience, sometimes it comes. So to answer that question, that dynamic of fatherlessness sometimes is a piece that I still have to deal with as an almost 40-year-old man. And I actually love and appreciate that because that allows me to come to a setting whereby I know just statistically, a lot of these Black and brown boys probably have gone through a similar experience as mine. Yo, I can relate to you, bro. You're looking at me right now and you're looking at my posture And maybe you're listening to what I'm saying and the way that he talks and the way that he positions himself. He can't understand nothing about what I went through. Nah, bro, I understand. You understand? I had it tough. I had it rough. And like I said, it was by the grace of God. And also because my mama had me in the church around other male figures that I was able to see, oh, that's how a man is supposed to conduct himself. So I modeled myself after those images, after those male role models that I saw in the church.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask in conjunction with that, because that was a whole dinner meal, and we can probably slice that up, take it on for leftovers and chew on it later, right? Because you can unpack that thing in multiple ways, because a lot of people deal with conflict and confrontation and obstacles differently. Some people drink their problems away. Some people sex their problems away. Some people deny their problems away and never really deal with the issue and make the main thing the main thing. And here you're saying there were some challenges in terms of not having a father, positive male role model in your life, and things that you're still dealing with. And that's what people got to understand. The fact that my mom passed away, I'm still navigating that, and it has impacted me no matter how emotionally tied or I wasn't emotionally tied to my mom. That impacts me now, right? So if you can just talk to the brothers and our sisters that are listening in, man, and really just kind of speak to like some of your favorite failures. And I know that's a crazy question to ask, but what's one of your favorite failures, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, one of my favorite failures actually is something that I'm living in right now. I am working to secure a $200,000 investment to really take my work to the next level. And the thing that's going to afford me to take my work to the next level is to strategically get team members to work with Damien Howard to help me to build this thing, blow it up, and make impact across the city and beyond. So here's the thing. When you talk about one of my most prominent failures that comes to mind, it's this inability to believe in myself, right? I'm telling y'all that right now I'm in the process of trying to secure this $200,000. But these same people that I'm talking to right now, I've known them for a decade. And in all honesty, some of them have been pushing me for 7 years to get to the point of where I am right now. Hear this, to believe enough in myself that I have what it takes to get on the right side of the business investor quadrant that says all over here, come on, y'all better stop playing. These are the ballers and the shot callers. These are the business owners and those who are investors that own 95% of the capital, but it's only 5% of the population. You get over here as a business owner and your money starts to work for you and you're not just trading your time for money. I was exposed to this model, Vondale, almost a decade ago. But one of, again, my failures, if you will, was an inability to believe that I had in me what it took to trek into that other side of the quadrant, get on that side and let my money work for more money and not always have to be subject to this system of punching the time clock. And that is the only way that I can make a dime or make a dollar. So once more, come on, can I be real with the people? I still get stuck in that place of not being fully mentally empowered to go own who I am as an entrepreneur. But the fact that it took me a decade to intellectually and cognitively believe enough of myself to go and get the capital to grow my team, that is the most prominent failure that I can think of right now. But again, y'all, the way Damien is wired, and won or lost, it was just a lesson. And guess what? Yeah, I'm maturing chronologically, but I still ain't 40 yet. So the way I'm looking at it is, man, I'm setting this thing up. My 40s is going to be real nice. Don't mess around and see me in my 50s. You understand? I'm going to be kicked up. You understand? The crypto going to be working. The stocks is gonna be working. Do you hear me? My business definitely gonna be working, and by that time, my baby girl gonna be running stuff. So it's just a beautiful dynamic that when you have that empowered mind, we could talk about failures all day, but the type of person I am, I'm like, we can't get stuck there. We can't get stuck in this place of saying, woe is me, taking on the victim mentality or the victim mindset. But victors say, okay, that happened to me and I experienced that, but how can I leverage that to uniquely position myself in the market? Let me say this real quick. All of what I told you about homie from 79th Street, an SCL guy, a guy who's focusing on empowering parents, when you wrap all of those things up, guess what? That results in the fact that there is only one Damien Howard. You hear me? And my uniqueness, my swag, the way that I approach the game, ain't nobody gonna do it like I can do it. Why? Because ain't nobody me. And when I own me, come on, the market is looking at that thing like, oh, you got something and you know what you got. So we're gonna put some fuel on that and let you do more of it. So I just want to encourage your listeners tonight, Vondale, to really do a deep dive introspectively into self to understand who you are. And once you get that mix and once you get that thing clear, oh man, invest more and more into refining the true essence of you. And I'm telling you, man, you will be able to create a lifestyle for yourself that is going to be above and beyond what you can ever imagine or think.
What a takeaway, bro. So if we can boil this down, you have a billboard.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking, millions of billions of people are going to read your words. You already dropped eternally optimistic on us. You know what I mean? So what words would you put on this billboard? What life words would you put?
Eat. That's just what came to mind, Vondale. Eat. You feel me? I even see Puffy, because The Voice was my joint. I don't know why they only have a couple of seasons, but eat, y'all. Like, it's enough out here. What they saying, paid in full. You tried to tell Money Mitch, everybody eats, bro. You understand? But too often we get to a place whereby I'm looking at Vondale and what he's doing with Champs, and versus trying to go and support this brother, versus trying to go and serve this brother, versus applauding him from afar and up close. You understand? I can get to a place where that jealousy starts to set in and say, nah, man, let me find out who his investors are and let me try to get some of his donors on my team. Nah, bro, the way we eat is when we understand the power of collective economics, when we understand the power of unifying, putting some of our resources together and going after this thing in a massive way. Even when you think of the real estate game, I think of so many people who have been able to get 30 units. They didn't start off with those 30 units. They may have started off with 1 or 2.
Right.
But then they said, okay, you got your 1 or 2. I got my 3 or 4. Let's liquidate what we have, put everything in a pot. And now they got 30, 50 units. They out here eating. But guess what? If you really want to eat, if you really want to build something of great significance, nothing of great significance has happened by a one man or one woman band.
That's
if you
right.
sitting up there trying to play the flute, if you sitting up there trying to beat the drums, if you sitting up there trying to hit on the tambourine, come on, church mamas, and you trying to do all of that simultaneously by yourself, that is not going to be a hit record that anybody's going to spend their funds trying to go buy that thing. But no, come on now. If you got my girl Erica Badu on the vocals, if we got my boy Larry Roberts on the drums, if we got somebody else on the keys, who is it, Philip Feaster, some of my people, you understand, doing their own thing, living in their brilliance, bringing uniquely who they are to the table so that ultimately we can build something that nobody can deny. Vondale, that's how we eat. So when I see that billboard, that's all that came to mind real quick. I'm talking about off the top of the dome. Eat, man, and let's eat together. What else we gonna put on there? Collective economics is gonna be short over to the side over there. What else is gonna be on there? Unity. What else is gonna be on there? Education reform. Come on, let's eat, bro. That's
Man,
that's what I got for you.
I love it. Hey, we eating tonight, bruh. We eating. I'm telling you, we got leftovers to chew on, bro. And then we might throw some dessert in, you know what I mean, just to tickle your fanny so we can eat again tomorrow. But man, that's so powerful. Now, in closing, I want you to take the last words and just share, how can folks get in contact with you? How can they support the great work that you're doing? What you got going on? What's coming up? Man, talk to us. Let us know.
Yeah, I think right now, the easiest way and simplest way is to find me on social media. Damien Howard, very simply. You can connect to me on Facebook, on Instagram. I think I lead with Clever Characters 2017. 2017 is significant because that's the summer that I started this company with 4 teenagers from Crane. LinkedIn, Damien Howard. Yeah, just that social media. For the sake of your audience, I believe that's just kind of the easiest way where folks want to rock with your boy, that they can rock with me. And we've alluded to this a lot in this segment, but my heart that is super geared towards urban education reform. And that doesn't mean that, for instance, here locally, I'm saying, Dennis Jackson, what you doing ain't working. So we gonna come with our own thoughts. No, it's always, come on, go back to E. It's always a collective unifying thing. What unique part can I play? And specifically here in the city, to call churches to the table and say, you go and adopt your school. I'm gonna help you to adopt this other school. And that's the way that we're gonna kind of get into the system and impact positive change. I just wanted to mention really quickly that a hyper focus and emphasis of my work right now is supporting parents and saying, parents, when we are empowered to speak to what we care about, to speak to what we want to see happen in schools, I'm telling you all, that is the dynamic that's going to accelerate change like nothing else. It's not only going to impact the school culture, it's going to impact your home culture. It's going to position you. It's going to give you an upgrade in everything that you do professionally, with your relationships. So I'm just loving Vondale, and even thank you, brother, for trusting me. With, at the time, was an idea to say, man, I want to rock with parents this year, and for you to bring some parents into this platform and program, and for it to be so successful, you don't even know this, that now I'm in conversation to potentially have this program for the whole Noble network.
Come on.
So we're doing character development, social emotional learning work specifically with parents, and whoever it is that may be intrigued by that piece. I might have organizations that are out there, especially faith-based organizations, that want to see good in their communities, good in their schools, but don't know how to do it. Like, those are the two things right now that are in my wheelhouse, and super desirous to partner and connect with anybody who wants to talk about that stuff.
Hey, man, thank you so much. And no, I do know about that. I'll talk to you later. But no, it's in the works. And, my job is to connect some dots and make sure that we all eat. So that's the word we're going out on, y'all. We got to eat, and let's do it in unity. Let's do it together. And so, man, thank you for your time, my brother. Thank you for joining. I know you got a lot going on. My prayers and thoughts are with you and your family throughout this tumultuous time. But, man, I love you. You're a treasure to the city. And anything that I can do to help support, just let me know, my brother.
Man, all in, bro. That's all I got to say. You already know where I am on everything, so I won't reiterate it right now. But as you already stated, we're going to definitely take this offline. I'm looking forward to connecting with some of your audience members who want to dive in with some of this work. And by the way, man, let me know next Champs time and opportunity to show up with some of the mentees. I'm missing that space, so I'm ready to be back.
Let's go. All right, y'all.
The Born to Win podcast highlights individuals excelling at high levels in their purpose and calling. This podcast is for anyone looking to get ahead in life and willing to take action and reach their full potential. Using C.H.A.M.P.S male mentoring model of the 3 E's, education, empowerment, and exposure, it means you too are born to win.
I'm born to win. Live. The Jets from Chicago be screaming all that.
Thank you for listening to the Born to Win podcast. Would you consider making a donation to C.H.A.M.P.S? We are looking to provide senior class care packages and other essential items like food, hygiene, and toiletries for the families of our C.H.A.M.P.S mentees. You can donate via Cash App at $CHAMPS Mentoring or PayPal at paypal.me/CHAMPS Mentoring. Or you can always visit our webpage, champsmentoring.com, and click on the donate button. Thank you.